Previously on the Novympia channel.
Sniff my cheese bag.
And coming up, I find you very rude.
The Novympia channel is made possible thanks to our gorgeous patrons who get access to exclusive garbo, and thank you to InView for sponsoring this video.
Cue the snafu!
You're disgraceful. Do you know, I can't stand these working conditions. Welcome as Vu's Les Novympia treat, starring you girls, broadcasting directly into your eyes and ear holes.
Don't say holes.
Oh, does we have to bleep that? They changed it all, didn't they? All
it's
the
got to
swears.
be within like the first 7 seconds now. And
You
I
can't
feel like
swear.
our intro is 7 seconds or something, so I think we're fine.
You can't swear, you can't wipe your ass nowadays,
Does
can
hole
you?
count as a swear?
Hole.
Arse does.
Health and safety, you can't wipe your ass. So today, this is a much requested video, and we're coming back with volume 3 of Novympia cutaway references. So thank you to everyone who's replied to our stories and sent us all the references that you'd like cleared up, and also the TikToks that you sent us, although you can stop that now. Thank you so much.
Leave me alone!
Thank you and cheers. It's nice to see how many of you still follow us and our inane, moronic stupidity.
Yeah, it is a cult. We call it a cult for a reason, yeah.
And you're all still here. And listen, if you like hanging out with us here on the channel, you might also like hanging out with us on the sponsor of today's video, which is, thanks to the world's largest social metaverse, InView! Okay, so this is nuts because this is an app you can download for free, and we've been on this for the past couple of days. We've both created ourselves in this, and I'm dying to show off mine because she's much more attractive than yours.
That's not true at all.
That looks like you though, but it's not good.
Excuse me. InView is an avatar-driven social media platform where you can live out your wildest fashion fantasy by going shopping, styling your own avatar, and meeting friends in these cool 3D spaces.
Oh, if you love shopping, designing characters, or dressing up avatars, then you're gonna love InView. The options to dress up in here are nuts. There's all kinds of options. There's drag wardrobe options in here, fantasy stuff.
Basically, if you can imagine it, you can create it. We even decided to dress like our avatars for today's video.
Oh, yeah. So you've done a good job, actually.
I think
that's
it's
real
well
close.
placed. I wish my hair was that voluminous and luscious.
Except that looks like a woman. Now, I do have a top like that could go over this, but it all seemed a bit, in real life, I wanted to show a bit more cleavage, so I've not done that. But I am wearing those shorts underneath the table. You just can't see them on screen.
I mean, she's way more snatched than you, I'm afraid.
Okay, so Nova and I are now gonna meet up in this. It's called Magical Forest. It's a chat room, essentially. Okay, there's Nova. There we are. Oh my God, that's so cute. Now, if you click on the swing, click on the swing. There we are. Look at us swinging.
So cute. So why not join us over there? Download InView for free. You can find us in the app. It's Novabish.
And I'm at Olympia Avalanche, and then just follow us.
Yes.
There's also going to be a link you can check out in the description box below. Thank you, InView, for sponsoring this video.
Thank you. 3, not only you and me, got 180 degrees, and I'm caught in between.
Trey, I'm on a mallard.
Trey, I'm on a mallard.
Do you remember Trey, I'm on a mallard?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
She was like getting like really like rogered on a like a fake mallard.
Trey, I'm on a mallard.
Who? Kristen Davis.
I don't know what any of this means.
I don't know how I'm going to find that. I've really just screwed myself over because that's going to take a long time to find, but hopefully by now you will have seen
Trey, I'm on a mallard.
Trey, I'm on a mallard. So basically, yes, we put a story out on Instagram, etc., saying, are there cutaway references that you do not understand?
All of them.
Everybody finds it like super interesting.
Apparently.
To just get a little tiny insight into the minds of ourselves. Mainly you, I have to say. A lot of these come from yourself. You're much more... You're one of these people that really retain useless information, and you will watch something and like a scene will just stay with you, and I don't even remember watching the film at all.
Nova, what's a reference that you would like explained?
There were a few actually that I didn't recognise. I didn't know stiff cock.
Stiff cock.
I'm guessing she's trying to be Julia Child, but I don't.
She's trying to be. That's Meryl Streep doing an Academy Award nominated turn as Julia Child in the motion picture.
With that performance.
She's trying to do Julia Child. What are you trying to do? Get on my last nerve. She's playing Julia Child, and there's a line where she says, it's because it was in the French video, she says it's hotter than a stiff cock!
These damn things are as hot as a
stiff cock.
That sounded like
What
her.
does that mean?
Hotter than a stiff cock.
Oh, so she is just saying stiff cock?
Yeah, she's saying
I
that.
thought it was like a French word.
No, she's literally saying that.
Did Julia Child ever say that?
Apparently, she was dirty mare.
Wow.
Dirty.
Well,
this is a very fitting segue for...
You dirty cow!
You dirty cow. Which apparently, if you're not an English, like a UK native, you'll have apparently no idea what they're saying in that, because it's a very thick Essex
We had a lot
accent.
of people think that they were saying like, I don't care, or you don't care, because it is a very...
It's
the
a
vowels
very
take on different
thick-
forms, don't they?
Very thick accent. So I've got this saved in my references folder as dirty cow, as in C-A-H, but they're saying cow because it's from an episode of Birds of a Feather, which is a British sitcom. The next door neighbour, Dorian, and I may have used as well, bloody Dorian! Bloody Dorian! Because she's like a nymphomaniac, nosy bird who lives next door. And she shags their son's like school friend. It's probably not even appropriate anymore.
Yeah, probably not, no.
But she alludes to the fact that she shagged this guy, Richard. And she said, you can take it from me that Richard is definitely straight. Yeah, they just turn to her and shout, you dirty cow. That's what that's from.
You dirty cow!
Are we doing categories for these like we have done in the past?
I'm binning categories. I think it keeps people on their toes.
Oh, okay.
I think it's a bit more exciting, just like playing it loose in the field.
Right, well, what's next?
The next one is men like a slut.
No.
Sexy, elegant, also slutty.
Slutty. Dirty girls.
The man likes a slut.
Men love
When have we used this?
Men love a slut. People have... I've used this intermittently over the years, once or
I
twice.
remember you using this.
But a couple of people have been like, what is that woman? And she kind of says like,
Been run over by a mobility scooter.
even the dog's eating my teeth.
And even I've had the dog's eating my teeth.
If you recognise that clip or any of these clips, it's from a documentary, which I'm telling you right now, it's on
It is good.
YouTube. Do yourself a favour with Hot 990 flavour and just go and watch it. It's called A Very British Brothel. The brothel, I believe, is now relocated, but I think it's still functioning. And it's just these really, like, charming, endearing women that work in a brothel in England somewhere, I can't remember. And it's a mess. It's an absolute state.
Every man's fancy is to have a mother and daughter.
You know, certain gentlemen enjoy that sort of thing.
They do.
Have you been into a brothel?
No, I have not.
To work? Do you work?
Do you work?
What sort are you just now?
I'm
We're not doing this, cut!
No.
Well, hello, and welcome to our house.
Oh my god, I love this one.
Whoa, Natalie.
Well, hello, and welcome to our house.
There's
so many from this.
from this.
I feel like, have you used them recently?
I don't think I've used it in a while,
Well,
but
you've
this
got to
is...
bring it back.
So many of you have written to us.
Have wrote into her.
So many of you have written to us.
This is a parody of Brenda Dixon's Welcome to My Home. And it's these two it's been on YouTube forever. It was like one of the first videos I ever remember watching on YouTube. I've got a problem.
Yeah,
I've got a problem.
What?
Is there a hair here? Like here. Can you see it? Thank you so much. Oh, you're so kind. Oh, you're so kind. Oh, you're so kind. Just rip it out. Just rip it out. Just rip it out. Is that it? Don't rip it out. Ow! It's a parody of... You remember Brenda Dixon, Welcome to... I've probably used that before.
I think you have used the original before.
And that is belts, hats.
All kinds of accessories.
There was this is all getting very meta now. There was a parody of that with these two birds playing these like rich, like assholes living in a house. And it's so fucking funny because they're talking about
Fashion can be acquired by having fashion.
or in buildings
Called stores.
called stores.
Whoa, Natalie.
Oh, Natalie.
And in buildings called stores.
Whoa!
The whole thing is quotable, so you have to just go and see it because you will not regret it. It's so good. It's like 15 years old. I can't remember the name of the bird. Possibly Julie. Someone might
It'll
be
be
one
on
of the...
screen now. I think my favourite part is...
It's playful to pretend I'm going to eat the birds,
But I'm
But I'm
not
not
really.
going to really.
aren't I?
Okay, you need to eat something. What is the matter
I've not
with
really
you?
eaten today.
Hell, that's a small poo.
There's nothing in there.
Pretty poo. Something's happening down there. What do you... my view is really like... This is like pay-per-view right now. What is that going on down there?
This is my bodysuit.
It's very National Geographic down there, isn't it?
Excuse me, that's so rude.
Do you know, I watched a video earlier on. It was this orangutan woman. What woman? No, it wasn't. It was a female orangutan mother. It wasn't an orangutan woman. That sounds really rude. Cut that. It was a female mother orangutan, and they were giving the baby to her after a week. They had to separate them and give it back. And she
Right.
got her like little orangutan nipples out, and it was like this weird little like whoopee cushion like nipple, and she sort of flopped it in the baby's mouth. This family-sized portion of pasta is in fact the starter, is it? I feel like we've never used this as an actual clip.
So this family-sized portion of pasta is in fact the starter, is it?
I don't think we've ever used it
We've
as a
just
clip.
quoted it.
We just say it all the time. It's
That's
from the...
interesting, isn't it?
This is a weird example, but this is from The Vicar of Dibley. It's the episode where she agrees to have Christmas lunch with like all the people in the village.
Because she's too nice to say no to anybody.
Yeah, so she agrees to have...
It's just like a relay of Christmas dinners.
Every time she shows up, she's like, oh, we'll only have a small amount.
Just a tiny portion for me, thank you.
And they're like, nonsense!
Yeah, she's guilted into eating loads. And she goes to this, I can't remember whose house it is. It might be like Frank. They present her with this starter and it's a giant bowl of pasta and she doesn't realise it's the starter. And then she just goes, this
Family-sized portion of pasta
is in fact the starter, is it? I don't know why though, we say it all the time. Where did that come from? It's
I
so
don't know.
dumb. Such pretty colours.
Such lovely colours.
It astounds me how many Americans in particular don't know who this woman is, never mind the character.
Do you know what though? People are young and these movies came out like two decades ago we're talking about now.
Iconic.
Yeah, but think about when you were young. When you were like young, because you're not young. So think about that.
Excuse me.
And like 20 years ago was the 80s. So if someone like an adult was quoting something from the 80s, you might not have any idea. See what I'm trying to say?
Touche.
It's Bridget Jones. This is the Edge of Reason, and she goes to Thailand, is it? And she, I think, inadvertently ends up doing some sort of drug. I can't remember what it is. Is it LSD?
Yes.
Something like that.
I think it is.
And
shrooms. And she drinks a cup of
she
tea,
drinks
shroom
tea, and she ends up in the sea, not having a clue what's going on, and she's just literally bobbing around in the sea, and she just goes, such pretty colours.
Beautiful Bridget.
That's Bridge. This is probably our most used cutaway, and it's so quick. That's why it works so well.
This?
It's Mrs. Selner. It's Mrs. Selner from Mrs. Doubtfire. So Mrs. Doubtfire, you don't need explained.
Well, they might do according to your last logic.
Well, Mrs. Doubtfire is very... Okay, Mrs. Doubtfire is a motion picture starring Robin Williams based on a novel, I believe, where in order to spend time with his kids, he dresses up like a Scottish nanny.
J.K. Rowling is shaking.
Can you imagine?
Bitch.
Oh! And he has to have a visit from a social worker, and her name is Mrs. Selner. And I love this actress. She pops up in a few things in the 90s. I'm sure she's been in hundreds of things, but I've seen her in a couple of bits. And she goes into the kitchen, but because he doesn't realise that she's coming, he has to go between being himself and Mrs. Doubtfire really quickly, which is like the whole movie. It's such a fast.
Yeah.
And he needs a face, so he sticks his face in the cake, and when he pops it up and he goes, hello!
The water's boiling.
Hello! Ah! She screams, and it's just so funny because if anything happens, she's there, isn't she, ready to be, like, scream?
It is literally like, what, a second?
Like, for example... Yeah, that worked
What have you done
perfectly.
that for? What did you just do? Don't cough at me.
Now this one, Nova, if you were to stay in some sort of venue somewhere that might charge per night a bedroom, and you thought it was really good there, you thought it was excellent, what might you say?
Your hotel is fabulous.
Your hotel is fabulous.
Now that wasn't bad, was it? That sounded like the bitch.
Do you think?
Your hotel is fabulous.
Oh, you
So-
do it more like the roof of your mouth. Hotel. I can't do it. Hotel. Oh, no.
Well, don't overtax yourself. I know things are difficult for you at the moment. At least this one isn't shedding. This dress, look at that cheap shit. People do not understand what this woman is saying. And again, it's an English thing. She is saying the hotel is fabulous. The hotel is and I'm sorry.
She's just speaking with marbles in her mouth.
I don't remember who sent me this. It was over Twitter, I think. Someone was like, this seems like you would use it for a reference. And a lot of people do that. And some of them make it in, some of them don't because they're garbage. But this is from, I made a note. It's from a TV advert from 2010 for Ledger Holidays.
Oh my gosh, they probably don't exist anymore.
And it was, no, probably not.
so many holiday companies went into administration in the first recession.
So many holiday companies have written to us. They got a bunch of testimonials from older people who were raving about this, saying the destinations they go to are unbelievable. I mean, it's on YouTube again if you want to watch the whole thing. And then it just cuts to this poor bitch, doesn't it?
They go to wonderful destinations.
The hotel is fabulous.
Who, 13 years ago, she might not be with us now.
She might not be, no.
She might be like the Oh What lady, gone to the shopping centre in the sky.
See, we don't watch a lot of terrestrial TV, but there's so much material in British commercials, isn't there?
Okay, so this next one, again, I'm surprised we've not had this in before because it seems like we've been using it for years now, but it can't be the case. Does anybody care? We're going to be at Hayes Point in Greece.
Does anybody care that we're going to be at the highest point in Greece?
I mean, it gets shortened down when we use it. Does anybody care?
It smells like shit. That's
Drew.
what it is actual shit.
It smells of shit.
Drew, it smells of shit.
That's what it is. Actual shit.
That's what it is. Actual shit.
Drew, it's the fact that she's just with some poor fucker called Drew and she is over it.
Do you care?
And then there's a bit where Nicola Roberts leans into the camera and her tour guides are obviously taking them around Greece and she looks into the camera and she goes, they look like murderers.
They look like murderers.
What a thing to say, though.
So, you could not, that would not air.
That is
today.
not okay.
That would not air. This is Girls Aloud.
British girl band,
yes.
no longer around.
This is some reality show where they travelled to...
So it's from a reality show called Girls Aloud Off the Record. I've done some research for this video.
Did this tie in with an album or a tour or something?
It was a reality show that aired in 2006 on E4.
How many episodes? We should try and find this.
I can't remember how many episodes. It's probably like 8. It's like standard amount, right? And it follows Girls Aloud in their build-up to the 2006 Chemistry Arena tour.
There we go.
So they go to Greece and they clearly just make them do a bunch of shit for reality TV because as we know, reality TV is all just staged and Cheryl's not having it at all. Does anybody care? I mean, I wouldn't be that bothered about the highest point in Greece.
No, but...
and then they get there.
It's just so funny though because like it's so...
rude.
Authentic. Like she's over it. You don't know what happened to her like the rest of the day. Maybe you do in the show, but like she just doesn't care.
But they get to the highest point in Greece and someone's just kind of like, but look at this view and just like, look at what? This next part might take a bit of time.
Oh. Why?
Well, if I was to tell you someone was at the door right now.
Who's at the door?
The one and only Silla, let's hear it!
I've just played the clips. The one and only Silla, let me hear you! Surprise, surprise! Da, da, da.
For fuck's sake.
Now, I again thought we had covered Scylla before, but apparently not.
No, we can't have done.
Because people kept asking about Scylla. We reference Scylla all the time. We referenced her in the last video. This fucking hair, I'm so sorry about
So this particular clip, you've actually dubbed over with a clip of one of her bigger hits, Surprise, Surprise, because that's not in the original clip, is it?
She had for about 3 or 4 songs that people would be able to name. There aren't many.
That's half true, because Scylla Black had some real hardcore fans. Like, there does exist Scylla stans. That is absolutely a thing. She did a documentary or an interview or something where she talks about the Oxocube.
Okay, but rewind. Cilla Black was a British singer, came up in the 60s alongside the Beatles. She had Anyone Around a Night. She had a #1 with that. She had You're My World, she had a couple in there. She also did Surprise, Surprise, because after her music career sort of dried up.
Surprise. She became like a TV personality.
She was the #1. Let's talk about in the 90s. If everyone watched Scylla. She presented Blind Date. She presented Surprise, Surprise.
So she did Surprise, Surprise, and then she did Blind Date, I believe.
And it's all very light entertainment, like 8 o'clock telly shows, but they were like all the rage. Everyone knew Scylla.
Yeah.
Surprise, Surprise, Surprise was the name of the TV show, but she had a single as well called Surprise, Surprise.
Well, what's the theme song?
Which I never realised that for the longest time, that she had a song called Surprise. I thought it was just the name of the TV show. And at the end of the show, wouldn't she sing it? Or she would sing a song at the end of the show. It was a bit like Sonny and Cher.
Here are 3 of your sons who you haven't even met. This is in 45 years. Come in, boys, say hello to your dad. That's a big surprise, surprise, surprise.
It was bizarre, but anyway, yeah. So Scylla is just kind of one of those. She's one of those British celebrities,
a national treasure.
But she falls under the category of like Lisa Scott Lee is another one, where it's kind of like, do we just love these people or do we just really like ripping them?
No, Scylla's a talent.
R.I.P. Scylla, she did pass away. But it's just funny to put Scylla in there. It's a bit funny.
But then the Oxocube situation, because that's another one that people just don't understand. It's become a blurb as well, and I'm assuming that it's only people who understand it are playing it on Twitch.
So Scylla went on a documentary series on the BBC called Eating With, where they would talk to celebrities about like food and stuff. And she did an episode where she spoke about, I'd take an orange and an Oxocube, and I put the Oxocube on the orange, and I thought, I like this.
I guess I was so eager to eat the orange and the Oxo that it all blended into one, and I thought, oh, I like this.
People were absolutely mind blown. She would take an Oxocube, which is a stock cube, meat stock cube, and she would rub it on half an orange, and she would suck the Oxo stock off of an orange.
It's a little bit like having salt and lime after a tequila slammer.
Doesn't that look fabulous?
Sour and salty.
Well, why don't we try it?
I'm not doing that.
I would try it.
No.
Don't knock it till you've tried it. Lipton's iced tea.
Right.
Pork markets.
Pork markets.
I'm kind of glad that people don't know what this is. This was a prime minister we had for about 5 minutes last year. And...
She was so embarrassed. If you've never heard of Liz Truss, she is a national laughingstock. The woman is a blithering fucking idiot.
She wasn't voted in. She was nominated by the Conservative Party, I think kind of as the sacrificial lamb, because they thought, oh, we'll just stick a woman there. And
it's a glass
take the
ceiling.
Brunt, and then a man can come in and save the day. She was doomed from the start.
It's a glass cliff theory footnote, if you look that up. She's kind of one of these people, a bit like a George Santos, where they kind of go against, I think, what they actually believe in, just because they want power and success. So they don't really give a shit what they're saying.
So I think this was a press conference about something that she'd done for Brexit. I think it was Brexit related, and she was talking about international trade deals. And it was just, the whole thing, if we can put a link in the description, the whole thing is so embarrassing because she is clearly very proud of this the very few accomplishments she's made. And during this speech, she pauses at several times, obviously expecting applause. And the applause that comes when she's waited for an awkward amount of time is so embarrassing. She does this several times throughout and kind of like awkwardly laughs and smiles like with enthusiasm.
So she's talking about like, oh, well, we should be exporting more British cheese.
And I will be bigging up British products.
She's like,
fucking crickets.
What is it she says? Like, we export over 50% of our British apples, and that is a disgrace. Is it?
And then she says that she's going to open more pork markets, and she just pauses, and people are like,
pork markets?
Opening up new pork markets.
And then it's the smile after this is kind of like, I'm drunk and slightly horny. I'm fucking horny for pork markets.
Now, that is
then she
not
crashed,
a smart person.
She crashed the economy and was booted out after. She's the shortest prime minister we've ever had.
She was given a shit deal, 100%.
She is a shit deal.
But even with a great deck of cards to play with, she would have fucked it anyway. Like, she's not a smart person.
And we also know someone who looks a bit like Liz Truss. So, they don't know that we talk about this.
Jane.
Come here, you fucker.
Come here, you fucker.
Come here, you fucker. Was a quote delivered by a lady who is a comedian and TV presenter and all-round TV personality in Israel. She hosted the Israeli Eurovision pre-party.
I think it's called Israel is Calling.
Last year. It might be called Israel is Calling. I would imagine it's
wrong,
probably out of Tel Aviv. And she made so many very blunt, very kind of almost trying to... It's a bit Ricky Gervais humour where not everyone likes it.
Apparently she's, renowned to have a very dark, borderline offensive sense of humour. And I think she was such a mistake to host this family show.
Not even that. A family show that literally features international artists. And trying to make comedy cross international appeal is so difficult.
If English is not your first language, trying to then speak English with jokes and comedy is even more difficult. So I'm not knocking her. I'm sure
I'm knocking her.
She might be a great comedian, but there were wires crossed here, and it was just after Emily DeForest had performed, and I think she was about to leave the stage, and this host, and you must forgive us, we've forgotten her name, but it will be on screen, goes, "Come here, you You just called
Twitter was on fire.
Eurovision sweetheart Emily DeForest.
Little Emily DeForest, who won for Denmark in her barefoot airy fairy, and she called her a on live TV. It's astounding to me.
Awful.
She also asked Sheldon Riley if he wears a mask because he's ugly.
God love him. He was like, actually, yes, thank you for reminding me that.
He was like, thank you for pointing that out.
I do have self-confidence issues with the way I look, and that is why I wear a mask. So thank
I
you for pointing that out.
This woman, absolutely. But come here, you something we say all the time now because it's so useful.
We might have to bleep out half of those, otherwise YouTube are going to consider it excessive use of cursing.
Probably, yes. And we're just reappropriating it
The
now.
example the man gave in the YouTube video, because people were asking, what counts as excessive cursing? He was like, if it's this, that, everything, then that's not acceptable.
You can't say the N-word. What's the next part?
What?
What's the next part?
What next part?
No, we're on this for a while.
Oh.
What's the next piece?
No, we're on this for a while.
This is Joan Cusack and Marsden. What's his first name? James Marsden, who, by the way, you chew him all the way through Sunday.
Doesn't do it for me, but I see it.
James Marsden as that prince in Enchanted.
Doesn't do it.
Do you think I was paying attention to the storyline?
How will I know?
See, that's the difference between you and I. I had better things to do, which was stare at James Marsden's.
This is a severely underrated film. Was it a bit of like an indie film? What studio
It was
this?
indie. It was really
a fairly
quirky.
big cast, but it was quite
maybe it wasn't
unusual.
indie, but it was Kristen Wiig. The movie is called Welcome to Me, and Kristen Wiig plays a woman who is very, very kind of reserved and quirky.
It's a bit of a black
She might be
comedy,
neurodivergent. I can't remember. We saw it years ago, but she wins the lottery and she decides she wants her own TV show, but there's no
and money is no object, so they just she says, I want to do this, and it's bad television, but I think she begins to get a bit of an audience because people are so fascinated by what
and she
she's
makes
doing.
a cake and she eats it, and then in the gallery, James Marsden and Joan Cusack, who are presumably producers, he says, what's the next bit? And she goes, no, we're on this for a while. Perfect cutaway, perfect no notes.
But we would recommend that film. We really enjoyed it.
What did you just say?
What did you say?
I don't actually know what film this is from.
Yes, you do grow up!
No.
Who is it? Who says it?
Isn't it Rachel McAdams?
It's Rachel McAdams, and it's Cillian Murphy, who I know you find a bit creepy.
Yeah, don't. He's a great actor, but I don't care for him.
He's unusual looking.
Yeah.
A lot of people find him attractive.
Also, like, he kind of speaks in slow motion, and that weirds me out.
He was great in Sunshine, which Novi doesn't like either, which is wild to have that opinion. So, this is the movie Red Eye.
Have I seen Red Eye?
You shut your face.
You can't keep saying the F word.
Yeah, but I'll just bleep it out from here on out. From here on out, we'll be well
I feel like we can have maybe like one every 10 minutes.
You've never seen Red Eye?
I don't remember it. Tell me
so
what
Red
the film
Eye.
is
Okay.
about.
Oh, here's the deal.
I've seen it.
Oh, here's the deal. It's great. Basically, Samuel L. Jackson is on a plane with a bunch of snakes. That's not right. That's not right.
Isn't a Red Eye a night flight?
Rachel McAdams meets Cillian Murphy in the airport, and they kind of flirt and sort of like, they're like, oh, this is nice. Oh, we're in an airport. Then they get on the plane and they don't know each other. They realise they're sitting next to each other on the plane, and they're like, oh my god, this is going to be like a rom-com. It's going to be, we meet on a plane, cute. Then it suddenly does a 180, and he starts saying to her, like, I have kidnapped your father, and if you want him to survive the night, played by Brian Cox, by the way, who was in The Ring. That's not listed, but we should definitely mention that afterwards.
I think people know what it is, but yeah.
If you want your dad to survive, you're going to do something for me. Get on the phone and do something for me, because she works somewhere. So that's the
I think
setup.
I have seen this
So it's one of those
long time
real
ago.
claustrophobic thrillers on a plane, like Flight Plan, Jodie Foster, oh my god. By the way, Flight Plan is considered the best movie ever made. I heard that. Jodie Foster on a plane. You don't need anything else, do you? Apart from, do you remember Jodie Foster? I'm going to swear again, I'll bleep it out. Jodie Foster in Panic Room, and Kristen Stewart says, Mom, say like over the intercom, say and Jodie Foster just goes, fag!
Say fuck.
Anyway, so this is a clip when she's starting to realise that this is not like all peaches and roses.
I don't have to do that.
Yes, you do, if you want your dad to live. did you say?
So the ring, real quick, we use that all the time for, my wife was not supposed to have a child.
She just wanted to be heard. He wants me to go away.
My wife was not supposed to have a child.
And then there's a clip of Anna Morgan throwing Samara Morgan
What was the
into
first
the well.
time that we used this and I screamed?
So I think it was the gingerbread video. I remember this because a bunch of people tweeted this. It was the gingerbread video,
children.
And we were saying this is a nice activity that a mother might do with her child. No, it would be something that like a mother would do with their child. Cut to a mother throwing her child into a well. The Ring is excellent. If you've not seen it, it is so great. It was one of my fave movies as a teenager. I'd watch it every single week. The other thing then, I think this is probably the one that we also got asked the most for. Certainly yesterday, I had about 5 messages, literally only asking for this one, which I thought was strange.
Go on.
What is the meat suit?
I swear we covered this in the second volume, but maybe not.
Suit? It's from the trailer and the documentary Bad Vegan.
That quote, though, I think was so good to put in the trailer because we were
Wild.
already going to watch it, but watching that, we were like, we have to watch this.
It's about a woman who owned a vegan restaurant.
Is the meat suit?
And she went from being like shiny, amazing in the New York Times, owning this vegan restaurant.
Poster girl for veganism.
And then she sort of disappears and goes off on this weird like journey with this man who was very kind of like manipulative.
It's really good. We don't want to give away too much, but
it's wild.
It's a roller coaster.
But I'm sure she was one of the employees, and the producer says, "Have you heard about the meat suit?"
And she
just goes,
"You know about the meat suit?"
What is the meat suit? Oh no. What's the meat suit? I'm gonna need a minute.
What's the meat suit?
What's the meat suit? Oh no. What's the meat suit?
I'm gonna need a minute.
What's the meat suit? What is the meat suit? Imagine you've just told me over Facebook, let's do a little thing right here, and you've just said, I'm not going to order takeout tonight.
I'm not ordering takeout tonight.
You lying bitch.
You lying bitch.
You Lying Bitch is, I think, one of the juiciest episodes of a TV show called Brothers and Sisters.
I also really enjoy that you've done variations of this as well, because the scene leading up to this line is she's typing out a password on a computer, and you've done various edits with that.
This is such an excellent plot point. It's a TV show called Brothers and Sisters. It's been off the air now for at least 10 years, more like 15. It's quite old now. And so it's Rachel Griffiths, and she's trying to get into her dead father's bank accounts using a password, and she realizes that if a password works, it means someone very close to her has told her a big fucking fat lie. And when she realizes it's the thing, and you just see the look on her face, and she just goes, "You lying bitch." It's so satisfying. Again, easy, very versatile.
Because the password she had in her head followed a certain formula, and the fact that there is another part to this password had very
massive. Oh, we can't say without ruining it. Start Brothers and Sisters right now. There'll be a quiz. The praying woman, and there's an explosion behind her, is
What's that?
I think it's from Spider-Man. See, I don't even know really. I'm sure it's from Spider-Man, isn't it? What's she called? May.
I don't know what clip you're talking about.
The woman, and she's praying at her bed, and all of a sudden, like, the window blows in behind her, and she goes, "Oh!" And she, you remember
Don't know that clip.
I think that's from Spider-Man. I'm sure that's Aunt May. Which Spider-Man movie? I don't know. Probably one of the ones with Tobey Maguire in.
Possibly, yeah.
There's also very little explanation we can give you for the woman who falls on the butter.
Never mind, I'll find.
So this is a performance artist, and it went viral, I believe, on Vine or very, very, very early YouTube, because somebody had switched the audio out for Adele, Someone Like You, and the combination of the two is just so
funny.
amusing.
It's just
so
a
funny.
performance art piece, and the original music, I think, was just very like drums.
Never mind.
I don't know what it was a statement on, but when you put Adele on it, it suddenly becomes hysterical, and she falls all over the place because she's on butter.
In a few different places. If you actually go down a YouTube rabbit hole, she has done this multiple times.
I mean, if you go on YouTube and put butter dance Adele, you will find it, and then you can do your own reading on that one.
Yes.
What the f is that?
Oh my god.
That was better than mine, actually. Yeah, congratulations. This is Heather Donahue in the Blair Witch Project. This is a bit where they are in the tent. They hear noises at night.
There's rocks, isn't there, being
Blair Witch Project is a found footage movie from the late 90s, horror movie, and they're in a tent at night and she starts running and she sees, I believe that they said afterwards it was the director dressed up in some kind of large, very frightening deer costume.
Oh, that's terrifying.
And the actors in that movie had no idea what was coming next, so they genuinely were scared by this because they didn't know what it was.
And you'll usually just use the audio.
I usually just use the audio, just
you probably
over something.
freeze on some lovely item that I've brought out that you're being very rude about, and you'll just go like zoom in and be like,
people are asking who the witch is saying you are shit, which is it's Firuza Balk in The Craft.
You are nothing. You are shit.
And towards the end of The Craft, she goes ham on like the sort of douchebag Chad villain guy.
That's also a great film.
Excellent work. And she says, you are nothing, you are shit.
Yeah.
And she also says, I throw in a clip of her occasionally saying,
because she's weak!
Because she's weak!
Oh,
which
yeah.
is also Firuza Balk in The Craft.
I would give the sequel, reboot, whatever that was, a skip. It's bad. But
It's
the
a hard
original The
skip.
Craft is great.
It's a hard skip. Now, somebody asked, again, I will go back and check, and if this is, we've already covered this, then that's fine. But somebody asked about Gilai Bilai Petra Gumakanda. Hello. So Nova, what would you say? What would you say about that
Was
then?
this a Vine?
Okay, so it's a YouTube channel called Runforthecube Candy Review. I don't know.
It's never a YouTube channel.
It's a YouTube channel. Again, though, this
Gilai
videos.
Bilai Gumakanda.
Gilai Bilai Petrat Gumakanda. I think it was also on Vine. I remember seeing a shortened version of this, but it's just a guy who's reviewing a Jelly Belly Pet Rat Gummy Candy. But the whole video is.
How does he say pet rat?
Pete Rat.
Pete Rat.
Gilai Bilai. Gilai Bilai Petrat Gumakanda. And he just, every word is with that horrendous nasal.
It was in that era of YouTube videos where there was like Fred and stuff and just being...
Fred?
Yeah. Do you remember Fred? Do you not remember Fred?
West.
No, there was one of the biggest YouTube channels at one time was this creator called Fred. And he just put on this voice that was like really stupid. And it was that kind of, when that humour was popular.
Okay, well, we'll move on past that one then.
People know who that is.
Water.
So I had never ever seen what this was until you started using it as a reference.
But so many people asked about this, and I only ever used it in one video. And it was
really?
I think it was the Mixies.
But then
when it was like add water and then do something with water.
They live on in our Twitch streams because people take sound bites and spam them with
turn them into blurbs. So Water is a clip from the song Candle on the Water, sung by Helen Reddy, R.I.P. And it's from the original Pete's Dragon movie, which was from 60s, 70s. It's old.
I have not seen Pete's Dragon in years, and I've never seen the remake.
And the full song is so pretty. I remember we rented this as a VHS from our local library, and I would not stop playing it. And my mother would come in and she'd be like, is she still singing about that goddamn candle on that water? Oh, turn it up. Put that on the water. For God's sake, somebody blow it out.
Why?
My love for you will always burn. I don't know how the rest of it goes, but that's it.
A candle on the water won't always burn, though.
Yeah, but her love would always burn. Will your love always burn for me?
It will burn as long as a candle on the water.
My urine burns. If you were going to be a Swedish lady and then you also sang opera... That wasn't bad.
That weren't bad.
That wasn't bad, thank you. I will be accepting...
Your falsetto's always been better than mine.
I will be accepting some sort of scholarship somewhere.
You've always had a very strong falsetto.
Thank you! Well, I should do a cover of that song. Who wants it? Get in the comments down below and I'll do the whole... I'll dress up like her and everything.
0 points.
Every time you use that clip, there will always be people in the comments, multiple people, did you know that's Greta Thunberg's mother? Yes, we know. Of course we know.
Do you think if
we know that.
If we're using a clip that's as niche as that we're not going to know that that's Greta Thunberg? That's Marlena Ernman, and she represented Sweden at Eurovision, I want to say 2007, with the song La Voix. And at the end, she hit such a high note that when she does it, she's like... Her mouth just like opens and explodes, and it's so hysterical. So that's why that's in there. Her mouth is like unprepared, ladies and gentlemen, unprepared, unprepared.
Unprepared, unprepared, mark you, ladies and gentlemen, unprepared.
Her mouth is like...
I actually don't remember what this is from.
Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
Oh yes, of course it is.
So Bedknobs and Broomsticks, if you ever see David Tomlinson going unprepared, Bedknobs and Broomsticks,
that's
he
when
was
he's
like
got the glass in the paper bag, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm putting this glass in an unprepared paper bag, because he was a con artist and it was obviously a prepared bag. He puts the things and it smashes, bless him, because he was a con man.
And he wasn't very
He was
good.
a trickster. And also, if you ever see Angela Lansbury saying, Leech!
Leech!
Yeah, that's all.
It's all Bedknobs and Broomsticks. It's a Disney movie from the 70s about a witch, an apprentice witch who fights Nazis.
Yeah.
That's not even made up. Like, imagine Disney doing that now.
They probably could, to be fair. I mean, they've made a bit of a comeback, haven't they? Neo-Nazis.
Is it a bit trendy?
Well, not in... I don't know if trendy is the right word.
Somebody asked about Jessica Lange, you stupid slut.
There's not going to be a swimming pool, you stupid slut.
Is that from Coven?
It's from American Horror Story. No, I don't think it is. Wasn't it Murder House when Frances Conroy plays the maid with the red hair?
Yes.
So it was from that one, wasn't it? Because she was talking to her and she said something about, like, are they building a swimming pool? And Frances Conroy mentions it and she goes, there's not going to be a swimming pool, you stupid slut.
And
American Horror Story.
Always swap that out. It's normally there's going to be a start of the show,
you stupid slut. I christen thee the Flying Wasp.
I christen thee the Flying Wasp.
Excellent work.
So good. Great physical comedy.
The first time I saw that, I can't tell you, I wet my pants. That was so funny. That, and when the dude, I can't remember who it is now, he finds a chocolate bar in the bottom of the swimming pool and he eats it, but they all think it's a turd.
Oh, I don't remember
That's also from the movie Caddyshack, which is an excellent movie.
I feel like that requires a rewatch soon.
It's so funny. It's like a spoof movie from the 80s, maybe 70s. That rarely comes in when it's like relevant. I just like putting it in, probably. And the last one is...
For this volume.
For volume 3. And again, get in the comments if you have other references you'd like to mention.
Yes.
My son is a biscuit.
My son is biscuit.
Do I look like a scrubber? This is bizarre.
My son is biscuit.
Someone uploaded a scene from EastEnders, which if you've ever heard us use do. It's a soap opera in the UK. It's been on since the 80s. It's very old. There's a scene that someone uploaded with Letitia Dean plays Sharon. She's been in it for decades. And she's having a scene with this one guy and she approaches him and she says 3 lines. She says,
my son is in the kitchen eating a biscuit.
Then there's a bit where she goes, I am a friend of Philinians.
I am a friend of Philinians.
And then the third bit is, do I look like a scrubber?
Do I look like a scrubber?
And someone's uploaded this random scene and switched all of it round. So all of a sudden it's, my son is a biscuit. Do I look like Philinian?
My son is a biscuit. Do I look like Philinian? I am a friend of the scrubber.
I don't know. I don't know what the hell it is. It's so stupid.
So silly.
Again, I don't know who uploaded this, who made it, but for some reason my son is a biscuit. Shah said
Shah
it
really likes.
all the time.
Yeah.
My son is a biscuit. Listen, that's a whole bunch of our references.
Yes.
If you would like anything else explained, then get in the comments and we'll put it in for volume 4.
I feel like we're always putting in new references all the time. So there will definitely be another volume of this. When? Who knows?
So stupid, but people need this information, don't they?
Do they?
Yes, they do, yes. Have you enjoyed yourself? Do you remember when someone tweeted about the mother from the Do Yeah family and said, I'd like to see her breasts? Why would you tweet that?
I mean, if I was her, I would take that as a compliment.
I just think that's so weird, though. You watch that video and that's what you get out of it.
Are you saying she's unattractive?
I'm saying, like, that's a weird thing to tweet about specifically. I'd like to know what her areola looked like. If you'd like to find more of our shenanigans, then we do have a Patreon that you might want to visit and have a look at. The address for which is coming up presently. I don't know how it goes though.
Something like
Not
that.
like le voir. Her mouth is like, some of the guys over there know they get birthday shout outs.
But not limited to.
You didn't say including, so it makes no sense. Including, but not limited to.
You're supposed to say including.
But then wouldn't you think though that you would
You messed up my ASMR moment.
Including but not limited to.
Have some of this instead.
Cheap shit. For March 18th, this was last weekend. However, we had a late entry. This is for Alex Scott. Happy birthday, Alex.
Happy
for
birthday,
March
Alex.
18th. This is from your dad, David.
Oh my gosh, how fun.
I think that's so sweet and lovely. So thank you, David, Dad, for doing this. And happy birthday to you, Alex. Mwah. For March 24th, it is Frankie. And then for the
Happy birthday, Frankie.
Happy birthday. And for the 25th, it's Daniel and Elizabeth.
Happy birthday, Daniel and Elizabeth. March 26th was Zach's birthday. Happy birthday. And the 27th was
Danielle.
Oh, because we've got 3 of them, haven't we?
Danielle.
And the 27th was Danielle's birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, as well as for the 27th, Star Lost in Antarctic. So happy birthday to you guys.
Everybody.
We also have a Twitch.
Still not had that checked out.
Her mouth is like, what else do you need checked out? A pap. You could have a pap.
Well, you said apparently that my nether regions is at the National Geographic at the moment.
Oh, are you enjoying your prostate smoothie? Oh, it's done my prostate no end of good. That's weird, isn't it? That's everything from us.
Yeah, we need to wrap up because we've got next week's video that we need to shoot.
We don't do them in 2 in 1, do we?
Are you lying, bitch?
And a lying bitch to our brand new patrons Chris Toppier, Josh, Johan Van Berkel, Dilbos, Hillary, Jamie Clark, Nina Laprise, Jacques, Andrew Pugh Jones, and Cody Ronan. It's like the masked magician unmasked.
Well, you're giving spoilers now for next week's video. National Geographic masked magician.
Would you have a wash?
Join the Patron, we'll do a shot of Patron.